Couple more softballs. You're part of the CRED advisory team. Why do you think Standard needs to care about D&I issues? And what does success or progress look like in this area?
Yeah, well, I think there's a business case for it. So there's a personal case. Look, I'm black and tall. It's like the conversation's going to happen whether it's audible or not when I'm in the room. And I also feel like my team is probably one of the more diverse teams in the company, and that's somewhat a reflection of me, not just in terms of race, but personality and a lot of different things. So I think there's a business case for it because to the extent that the organization filters out top talent or kind of suppresses top talent, I think of it as cutting 20% of the innovation and productivity and economic output. You just chop that off and just throw it in the fireplace, right? And really for us to be successful, I think you've got to optimize each unit, right? And if optimizing that means that you have to focus on some things that make you uncomfortable, then that just is what it is. So I think there's a business case for it. I also think, the civil rights movement and the evolution of this country, it didn't stop in the 60s, right? The arc of it is flowing right through here, right? And those folks who were abolitionists or who were, advocates for equal education and equal treatment for women, now the front is now just here. It's us. And so the question is, what are we going to do about it? So there's, in my view, a sort of moral conversation that's happening as we advance civil rights, right? All the women in this room and the conversation about equal pay is huge, right? And that's a part of the arc of civil rights in this country. We're all participating, whether you're conscious of it or not. And I think it's very close to the surface for me. I'm aware that I'm in this front edge of people who have had more equal access, right? And I have this very technical job. And then I'm looking people in the eye and saying, oh, so you wanted equality, here I am. What are we going to do about it, right? And are we going to build a system that makes that outcome more likely, or are we not? I understand that I'm doing that, and it makes people and institutions uncomfortable. And just imagine how it feels to me. I would rather be in an all-black environment, eating soul food all the time, and listening to slow jams at work. But progress. I think there are some visible signs of progress. Obviously, more women and people of color in the C-suite and in positions of power. But I also think that. So one of the things my leadership coach helps me work through is envisioning what the texture of my life feels like when it's diverse, right? And the texture of my life is that I'm happy to go into work, that maybe I walk or ride a bike, I don't drive a car. When I get to work, the people say good morning. That from time to time, someone will say something crazy, and instead of spitting out into our race corners or our gender corners, that we kind of hash it out there. That I'm happy to have my lunch with my colleagues, right? Or maybe from time to time, someone will be reading a book that surprises me. Maybe I'll have a running buddy at work at the end of the day. Maybe I can run in the middle of the day and not worry about my hair after I go for a run. That's the texture of the life that I want. So that's what I think progress is like, is that each person who's here can envision the texture of the day that they want, and that the environment is accommodating enough to allow those different textures to meet to the to benefit of the entire organization. And we had some of that is happening in my group. Last week we have a guy who's from Russia, and he didn't understand the etymology of the term cracker, right? And he thought it was, he could call me a cracker, and I was like, no, actually, no. You can't do that. And we didn't go into our crackers and start fighting. It was sort of like, hey, let's talk about where that word came from and why you should probably not use it. And I think for him, then the texture became one where he was unafraid to make mistakes, and that we could get into the bouncy castle and get sweaty, which was okay.